For this workout, you just need your mat. We have a series of 16 core exercises that we'll do in succession. First exercise is scissor abs. So you'll lie on your back in full extension with your legs down and arms up, and you will be kicking up one leg and reaching for your foot with your hands. It helps to think of a vertical reach, so reaching up tall with your foot and reaching up tall with your arms. And if lifting your back is too much, you can just keep your back on the floor and reach your shoulders and your head and arms up towards your foot. Next up is a leg drop, so tuck your hands under your hips and extend your legs up to the ceiling. Your focus here is to keep your back pressed into the floor, so if you feel your rib cage pop up or your low back lift off the floor, you're dropping your legs too low. You can also alternate a leg drop if you need to take some of the weight off to protect your low back. Bicycles are next, so bring in your hands behind your head. You're going to alternate a knee tuck to the elbow. Here you want to avoid pulling on the neck. You want to turn the shoulder so as one elbow reaches for the knee, the other elbow is reaching for the floor. And you want to do a nice tight knee tuck, so pulling one foot way in and the other foot extending way out. Tick-tock is next, so keeping the legs bent, feet resting on the floor, you're going to lift your head and shoulders and reach for alternating heel. If your neck gets tired here, you can certainly pull the hands behind the head and just continue with that shoulder motion as if your arms were extended. Next is an ab exchange, so you're going to keep the legs bent and lift one knee at a time and just clap the hands behind the knee. I know your abs are tired here, but if you focus on keeping the back pressed into the floor as you reach overhead, you will be working your core a lot better. Next is your anti-rotation, also known as Russians. The key here is to avoid full rotation so you're not adding torque to your spine. You want to move from one side of the knees to the other side of the knees with as much speed and control as possible, keeping the core pulled in nice and tight. Lying back down for a dying bug, legs are bent, feet are elevated, and arms are extended straight up toward the ceiling. As you extend one arm in the opposite leg, your main focus will be to keep the back pressed into the floor. If the back comes up at all, you're extending too far, so you want to make sure that the rib cage is down and the pelvis is up. For your figure 8, you'll come back up to a V-sit position, and we'll do sort of like an ab exchange, alternating a clap behind the knees. Bringing it back down for a cross-body dying bug, and taking your left hand, pressing against the right knee. As you extend the free leg and arm, you want to keep that back pressed against the floor, and you also want to add as much resistance as possible between your hand and your knee. So pushing the knee away, and the knee is driving into the hand. That will keep the core super active. All right, let's switch sides. We are moving on to our low plank series. So you will turn around and get into a low plank position with your forearms on the floor. We're holding here for about 20 seconds. You want to make sure your shoulders are strong. Gesturing your elbows toward your toes and your toes toward your elbows, keeping that pelvis tucked. From here, we're going to do an alternating knee tap. So not moving anything from your plank. You can start here, tapping one knee down and then the other knee, keeping everything as still as possible. From the knee tap, we're going into a hover plank. So now sending one leg out laterally, just hovering that foot right over the floor, keeping that plank nice and strong, driving the elbows into the floor. Try not to shift the hips up, keeping everything low and in a strong plank. From here, we're going to turn into a side plank. So you want the elbow right under the shoulder. Shoulder is nice and strong. And if you want to add some intensity, you can give it some pulses upward, bringing it back down to neutral. We're going to switch sides now for your side plank. And you can also keep that top leg staggered to the front, which will help keep your hips in a proper position. Remember, shoulders are strong, adding a pulse for intensity. We're now going to turn toward the floor into a tall plank for some split down dogs. From here, you're going to drive one knee in, and that same leg extends back nice and long into a split down dog. And as it comes back down to the plank, you're going to switch sides. When you drive that knee in, you want to shift the shoulders forward over the hands. And when you drive that leg back, you want to push the floor away with nice, strong shoulders. Take your time, find your rhythm, and make sure that you're breathing through this entire movement. You made it. Let's get into a nice deep down dog, and then we'll shift forward for a nice strong cobra and a stretch through the front body. Nice deep breaths, keep the legs nice and active here. And now you can just shift back into child's pose. Take your time. Great job.